everyone! So, welcome to my vlog. Happy Halloween everybody. I know it's October now, and today we're going to be talking about the general genre conventions that you will see in a storyboard for film specifically. But before we dive into that, I first want to talk about what the heck is a genre? Like, what is that? So I have a definition right here that I'm going to read to you. So genre is a way of writing and speaking that help people communicate and work together in specific situations. So the genre we will be looking at today is the storyboard. Specifically, we will be looking at my own storyboard that I wrote, or drew, I guess you could say. I illustrated. And if we're gonna look at the micro genre, it's a sci-fi / action type storyboard. And yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so every form of communication has its intended audience. Like when you're writing a certain genre, you always have in mind like who you're speaking to. So for the storyboard, the audience is the director and the film crew. And for my specific storyboard, the audience in my head was my cameraman, my fight choreographer, music composer, and the actors. So moving on to like the purpose of a storyboard, it's to help it's literally just to help visualize the script and visually show the details for each shot and scene. And storyboards are so vital for film because with their visual language, they guide scene transitions, action sequences, cinematography, lighting design, location scouting, costume development, and so much more. So overall, they really just help convey and show the overall story. So yeah. Now that we've covered what a storyboard is, let's look at the genre conventions. The first most obvious one is the use of visual language. In every storyboard, there are visuals used to convey your subject in action. In my example, we can see my first two main characters right away, the hooded girl and the bartender that we follow throughout the first scene. And then eventually we're going to meet our next main character who is cloaked in darkness. So throughout the entirety of the storyboard, every page is filled with visuals that show the narrative of the story. The next general convention that we'll be looking at is shots and scenes. So as you can see in this first picture on the bottom corners of the panels, it says shot 1A, shot 1B, or scene 1, and these are used all the time in storyboards. You will see this all the time. And what's really important to note is in the first three shots, it says shot 1A, 1B, and 1C. And so this shows that these shots are all continuous, meaning they're one sequence together. And so it's important to know that that's what that means. The next general convention would be camera movement. So an example of this can be found on my first page in panel 5. You'll see that there is a long curved arrow that sweeps around the hooded girl, and this arrow is indicating the motion of the camera for that shot. So there are a lot of ways to show camera movement. This is just one example of how to do it. Another way you can show camera movement is to use boxes. So you can start like at the top left corner and then draw another bigger box on the bottom corner and then just show with arrows like this is how the camera is going to move in that particular shot. So the next thing you might have noticed by now is the side notes that are written all over the panels in my storyboard. So this is another common feature you're going to see in storyboards. Depending on the artist, there will be a lot of writing or there's going to be a lot of visuals. It literally just depends on who's doing the storyboard. But the general purpose of side notes is to just kind of clarify things that may not be as clear with just images. So with my notes, I clarified like camera movements and angles. I wrote down actions of my characters, and I wrote additional script lines that I thought would like enhance my story more. So side notes are also used to talk about sound, lighting, and transitions, but I'll talk about that more later on. Another general convention that you're going to see is writing in sound. I don't have an example of this in mind, but usually a storyboarder will indicate any like sound effects or the music that will be playing during the shot. So in the example that I provided, this is from Alien, and in this particular storyboard, or part of the storyboard that I'm showing you in this panel right here, it says screams, birth cry. So this is indicating like a sound. So this is just an example of how storyboarders will write in like specific sounds for specific shots. So the last genre convention that I'm going to talk to you guys about is lighting. So they usually either do this by actually drawing in the shadows or highlights in the shot, or they will just note it on the side. So for my example that I provided you guys is the storyboard from Moulin Rouge. Great movie. I suggest that one. But anyways, as you can see, in this particular storyboard, they used a lot of shadows to just show where the lighting placement will be. Like right here, you see the shadows on her face. Another example is right here, where they're in darkness, but then he is in light, so the emphasis is on him in this particular shot. So usually it just depends on how the artist wants to convey lighting. They can either write it or they can actually show it by drawing it in. Overall, these are your basic genre conventions with the storyboard. It's visuals, camera motion, side notes, the shot number and scene, sound, and lighting. And some notable features that make storyboards really cool and unique is there's just no specific template. Like if you saw like throughout the examples I've showed, none of them look the same. And that's what's really amazing about storyboards, is you can do it however you want, as long as you can get your message through, like what you want conveyed. And so overall, storyboards are super nice because you have a lot of freedom with them. Well, looks like we've come to the end of our video. So I hope you guys enjoyed it and that you guys learned a little bit about storyboards and now can take this information and use it in the future. So take care, everybody, and happy Halloween!